So I wanted to build something for occults that was also themed after the autumn, and so I decided to have an apartment for a family of witches who had a sort of forest theme, so I used a bunch of the items from Enchanted by Nature, but I still made sure to have this space a lot more witchy than fairy-like. I think I achieved that. You can let me know if you think that also. And I wanted to have two bedrooms, one big primary bedroom and another for the children. I think I have maybe an infant or a toddler sharing with a child. And there's also on the corner an office that is for, I think there's a seance table, there's also jewelry making, and there's a lot of books and stuff. First, I also wanted to divide the living room and dining room, and that's a space I really liked. At the moment, it looks very closed and dark, but I opened it up and I kept those the bookcases as a divider, so I thought that it was interesting, and they actually look really nice from the other side. They are so detailed, and that's one of the things I really like about them. They are also what the game calls storybook decoration, and that I find really nice. Oh, and I also decided to have the apothecary table and cauldron in the kitchen because I was trying to make sure that there were a lot of activities in here, and also because one of the things that I found a bit annoying was that spellcasters and a bunch of the other occults don't have career options that fit them very well. I think that, for example, vampires can be good writers or musicians. Musicians also work at night, so I think that's maybe better for them, but I still would have liked something that they could do in their spare time, although I think a vampire is like the perfect recluse, so maybe they can be a writer or a painter and work from home that way. But for spellcasters, it often bothers me that they don't have any suitable careers, I think. I really like that they can run their own small business and they can make jewelry and sell it, because that's also like magic adjacent. So yeah, I really like those things that you can do with this kind of occult. And the apothecary career, I think, really suits them, so that's one of the things that I really wanted to include in this space, like, prominently. I also decided to use the older looking buildings because I felt that would fit a lot better. By the way, this apartment is up on the gallery. It is for 20 Culpepper House in the Spice District of San Myshuno, and I will also have that link down in the description. My username is Veranio, so you can also find that if you search for that. Oh, and I got an outdoor trash can because it's very practical, and I also really like that trash can. I like that it has a lid, and it has some decent colors, and it looks more old-fashioned, so I think that it often fits better in these sort of spaces. And I wanted to have the kitchen behind the door just so that all of that messy space could be hidden away. And one of the things that I always like to add to these kinds of rooms is the big spoon that they use to stir the cauldron, so I also hung that on one of the walls. And here in the dining room, I tried to use the Realm of Magic chairs, but I didn't really like that, so I got these ones from Enchanted by Nature, and I also got the bar from that pack. The curved bars actually fit really well under that sort of bay windows, so I'm interested in trying to use the one from Lovestruck, and there's also a curved one from Businesses and Hobbies. It's smaller, but I think that if you use two, maybe they can have a similar shape. I would really like to try that. Oh, and I also got one of those like cabinets from Realm of Magic, just so that there was some more decoration and magic to the space. Also, so that there was something more from that kind of style. And then in the living room, I really struggled to pick a rug, so that took me forever, and I cut off a bunch of this video just because of how many minutes I spent just looking for a rug. I really liked using this wallpaper. I think it is super cute, and having it on a big wall like that is... I think it looks great. I added these beautiful sconces from Realm of Magic that look like bugs, and so I sized some of them down. And I also got the like little lights that you can add to walls from Lovestruck. You can also add those to ceilings, and I think that could be really cute for a child's bedroom, although I forgot about that in this build. But I really liked how these this combination of chairs and sofas looked. And also the rug that I ended up using is one from Cottage Living, and it has little foxes, flowers, I think there's bunnies. So I thought it really worked with the forest theme of this apartment, as well as that big mirror next to the door and that log. It's not a bench, it's more of an ottoman, I suppose. Oh, and I added a bunch more of these wall lights from Enchanted by Nature. I also think that it looks really nice to have it trimmed with the columns, just so that they really frame that wallpaper. And I also thought that they worked to also separate the spaces. I am using the fireplace from the Secret Sanctuary pack, which has that sort of whimsy that I liked. And I will be coming back to these areas because I wasn't super happy with them, and I kept remembering things that I thought would look alright in there. And I also got this table from Movie Hangout here in the dining room. I thought that it would be nice to have some plants in there, and also I like the artwork from Enchanted by Nature. On top of that, I got the death frog as well because I really like its enclosure or cage, whatever that is called. And I got the tea set from Cottage Living because it also has mushrooms, I think. So it fit with this theme. And I think I ended up having a crib in here instead of the toddler bed just because it would be more flexible. But of course you can always change that out for the bassinet or another one of these big beds. I added the changing table from the Storybook Nursery Kit, which I was really glad to see that it had sort of light wood swatch that worked with this furniture that I was using as well, especially since Enchanted by Nature does not have a bed and the bed from Realm of Magic had a similar wood tone. I thought that was very nice. I also added this small closet with a mirror from Horse Ranch. I am not a big fan of the more rustic swatches of those sorts of items, mostly because they don't go well with a bunch of the other wood textures in the game. So if you're just using Horse Ranch, it's fine, but if you are doing a more eclectic sort of build, it can look odd, and I don't like that, especially since it starts to look like really dark. They have dark streaks, so it's something that they don't really share with any other items. I decided to have a play area here in this corner, so there's the big bear from the new event. I got some of the items from that, I think, and I got a doll's house. I also wanted to have these infant playing mats. It's also from the Storybook Nursery Kit. And I just like to have an option for infants to have activities outside of their bedrooms, because otherwise it's kind of, they feel like really contained and I don't like that. Oh, and I discovered that the diaper bag from that same kit fits perfectly above this little closet, so that made me very happy to see. I often don't really know what can be a good place for that kind of item outside of the clothes rack, or I don't really know what to add on top of closets so that it looks like something that would be useful but that you could still remove from there. So for example, here I got this big fox plushie, which is really just a decoration because I would think that a child would have a hard time getting that down. Although, knowing my brother and myself, I'm sure I would have climbed on top of the drawers of that closet and then reached onto the top part of that. But in The Sims you cannot do that, and I'm also not entirely sure that would be safe. So yeah, anyway, now we're going to be starting on the primary bedroom, which is using that new bed. I really like this bed. I feel like the Realm of Magic bed is really beautiful. I also think that it needs really high ceilings, which this apartment has, but it's also kind of bulky, and this room is really big, but I didn't want a bed that would look like so, I don't know, I suppose that it looks like a royal kind of item, you know, like a princess bed or something. Like in a castle it would look great. I have made an apartment, I made a castle into apartments, and one of them was for spellcasters, and that bed looked just perfect in there. But it it really can be a challenge to fit it in a room without it looking cramped. This room, however, was just a little bit too big for my it wasn't my preference to have it this size. However, I think that it worked pretty nicely. Oh, I also added that little basket from Garage Living, which had a matching set of pillows, thankfully. And it has also some autumnal swatches, which I would really like to use soon. I also really want to have a lot more occult builds here on the channel. I have been reading Gothic literature, so I am very inspired to try some stuff. Like I read Wuthering Heights and I would love to actually build a farm from that book. I read Dracula, which is now probably my favorite book, and I would love to build Count Dracula's castle in Ravenwood. I also really like the movie Nosferatu, and yeah, I have all of these ideas, like a Victorian house for spellcasters, so something that isn't cottagey or so like fairy tale like as this apartment. So yeah, I just have many ideas and not a lot of time to build and edit videos. Especially, I really struggle to actually record this voiceover. So now that I have it recorded, I am very excited because that means that I can get to editing it. I have some ruins where vampires live. It's like a vampire lair. That's for Ravenwood and no, for Garden Hollow. And I also have a chapel, like an abandoned church that has been converted into another vampire lair, also for that world. And I am really excited about that one. I think it looks interesting and it is a nice addition. I really like that world, and some of the builds I think have a lot of potential. So maybe I could take one of the existent ones and just have a renovation. Anyway, now we're back in the bedroom, and I wanted to have this cabinet from Crystal Creations because I didn't really add much to it, but I always think that it's nice to have space for collectibles and that kind of thing. I also think that these mushroom shelves are so cute. I had more mushrooms and stuff in there, some more candles, but I think that it's nice to have that kind of item that you could easily remove or just, shove to the side so that you can add more of those collectibles. I used the other one to have an incense kind of thingy, so I thought it was cute, and I also really like that vanity area. So this is the office. I really like this dragon swatch on the rug. Oh, also, I have so many ideas for a couple of Dungeons and Dragons builds. I used to play Dungeons and Dragons. I don't have a party anymore, but I also play Baldur's Gate 3, so I've had this idea for a long time, and I think it would be really nice to have a sort of cafe with computers for gaming and games tables and stuff. Also, that little open book from the Comfy Gamer Kit looks like a Dungeons and Dragons manual, so that is perfect. And I've had so much stuff going on with the wrist operation and stuff, and physical therapy, that I haven't gotten around to that. But I think that it would be really cool to have that in Innisgreen, the new world, and I just can't get it out of my head. So hopefully one of these days that will be up in the channel. Also, I think that I really want to have a Halloween costume for Dungeons and Dragons character. One of my characters, actually, she's a tiefling, and I think I have everything that I would need for that costume. So yeah, I am very excited about that. And I decided to add these little cubes from Crystal Creations. These are very nice for also collections displays. So having those on top of those really high bookcases made sense to me, at least. And I also wanted to have a desk. I kept finding items, so I go back to the kitchen and to other rooms to add them. But yeah, I really like how messy the kitchen looks with all of those extra details. I also added the this other apothecary set thing. I have one in the kitchen, so there's another one in the office, but they are different colors, so maybe that's okay, I hope. And I also wanted to have like a section for plants in here, so I made sure to add some pots and stuff in this corner so that you could grow your own plants for apothecary purposes. I'm sure there's other places in this apartment where it would be possible to add some more of these pots. Oh, and I really liked how I decorated this area because I added this hand from Paranormal, which looks like it has some very useful information, especially since there's the seance table and stuff. And I got this bust from Life and Death that also has anatomical information, so I felt like that would be useful for somebody who works in Apothecary, and also those diagrams and stuff that I added to the wall have more that sort of vibe. I really like those kind of anatomical things, so I am really not bothered by how macabre they might look. And I also noticed that this corner was a bit blank, so I added a music player, the one from Secret Sanctuary, some more artwork, and I also got some pet bowls because I decided that it would be nice for a cat to be here, or maybe a dog. There's a bathtub, so a dog could live here as well. And I got the kitty litter box and the scratch post. I really like that there's one that looks like trees, and those pet bowls also look like a tree stump. So I felt that was very much on theme. I also really like giving blankets to my spellcasters. I cut out a lot of the bathrooms because they are very similar, but I still kept plenty of that footage. I really wanted to use this mirror. I think it's really cute. It's the one from Werewolves, and since it has crystals and stuff, it also looks magical to me. I added the soaps and like apothecary potions because it was leaning more towards the occult or fantasy kind of vibe. This is the big family bathroom, so I added a bunch of stuff in here. I have towels that are folded and a few other things like that. I also got a toilet paper roll and a bunch of just little clutter items, more plants, a picture on the wall and that kind of thing. They both have the toilet and some other fixtures from Enchanted by Nature. And then I realized that the lighting wasn't what I wanted for this, so I added some more of these branches that glow and some candlelight as well. So that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. I included a bunch of screenshots at the end that I hope you will also appreciate. Please leave a like if you did enjoy this, and I hope to see you soon. Bye everyone.